Welcome to Federalism. What's the Power? With your hosts, Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Klein.
Welcome to Federalism. What's your power? Where we'll decide if these powers are delegated, concurrent, or reserved. I'm Mr. Mitchell.
And I'm Mr. Klein. This game is about how our U.S. government distributes power through federalism. This is how the game works.
We're going to ask teachers a series of questions and decide, is that power a delegated power, which means it is a power by the federal government, a concurrent power, which means it's shared between the federal and the state governments, or is it reserved, a state power?
Now, we're going to burst into random teachers' rooms and ask them these questions. They have to answer whether it is a delegated power, a concurrent power, or a reserved power. If they answer correctly, they win a prize, which we'll see at the end of this show. Are you ready to see what federalism is?
I was born ready.
Let's go. Here's your question. Who has the power to declare war?
Delegated.
That's correct. The federal government has the power to declare war.
Who has the power to maintain law and order?
Concurrent.
You are correct. That is correct. That is a shared power between both the state and federal governments.
Question. Who has the power to establish and maintain schools?
Reserved power.
That's correct. The states have the power to maintain schools.
Reserved.
Who has the power to establish local governments?
Reserved powers.
You are correct. That is correct. Way to go.
Question. Who has the power to maintain armed forces?
Delegated power.
That's correct. The national government can delegate powers.
What type of power is the power to levy taxes?
Concurrent power.
You are correct. That is a shared power. Yeah.
Which type of power is to regulate interstate and foreign trade?
Delegated.
That's correct. The federal government has the right to regulate interstate and foreign trade.
Who has the power to borrow money? That's correct. That is a shared power.
Who has the power to regulate business within the state?
Reserved power.
That's correct. The state has the power to regulate businesses.
Who has the power to admit new states? That is correct!
Question. Who has the power to charter banks?
Concurrent power.
That's correct. The federal and state government have the power to charter banks.
Who has the power to make marriage laws?
Reserved power.
That's correct! The states have the power to regulate marriage laws!
Who has the power to establish post offices?
Delegate power.
That's right. The federal government has the right to establish post offices.
Who has the power to set standard weights and measures?
Delegated power.
You are correct! That is a delegated power! Yes!
Question. Who has the power to establish courts?
Concurrent power.
That's correct. Both the federal and state government can establish courts.
What did I win?
Who has the power to coin money?
Delegated power.
You are correct! That is a delegated power to coin money!
Question. Who has the power to provide for public safety?
Reserved power.
That's correct. The state has that power.
Who has the power to establish foreign policy?
Delegated power.
That's correct! Yeah!
Question. Who has the power to assume other powers not delegated to the national government or prohibited to the states?
Reserved power.
That's correct. That is a reserved power.
Who has the power to provide for public welfare?
Concurrent power.
That's correct! That is a shared powers! Yeah!
Question. Who has the power to make all laws necessary and proper for carrying out delegated powers?
Delegated power.
That's right. That federal government has that power to establish delegated powers.
Nice! Sweet sassafras! All of our teachers got all of those correct!
Johnny, tell them what they've won.
They've won an all-expense paid trip to Schoology Island, where the grading is endless and the missing assignments never stop.
Well, that's all the time we have today.
Join us next time on Federalism.
What's the power?